This is IUPTv News, broadcast from Davis Hall. We will bring you our weekly news bulletin. I am Taylor Jones.
And I'm Brandon Uholic. Today we will bring you stories related to IUP in the Indiana community. We will begin with national news. Many of us know the story of Larry Nassar, the former gymnastics doctor accused of molesting 256 female gymnasts. The Michigan State University Dean, William Strample, who supervised Larry Nassar, has been arrested this past Monday. Mr. Strample was taken into custody on unknown charges. Strample served as the head of the College of Osteopathic Medicine, which is where Nassar had his sports medicine practice. Strample was held in the Ingham County Jail.
As the March for Our Lives protests took over cities across America, allies overseas showed solidarity with the survivors of the Parkland, Florida school shooting. Demonstrators in France, Germany, Spain, and Japan were among those who took to the streets as part of the push for stricter gun control in the U.S. Hundreds of international protesters urged U.S. lawmakers to make changes to the country's gun laws, reminding them that the rest of the world is watching.
The Communications, Media, and Instructional Technology PhD program gave my life direction. This program was perfect for me with a combination of research and media production. Hands-on courses gave me skills that I now pass on to my students. I use all three areas of the program, production, theory, and research, every day in my job as a college professor.
Learn how the CMIT PhD program can change your life. Visit iup.edu/CMIT.
IUP's Diversity Action Plan was recently approved by the Council of Trustees at a meeting at the North Point campus. This plan is a product of President Michael Driscoll's Commission on Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Some themes that come from the plan include developing and implementing protocols for early response or intervention in the IUP community when discriminatory incidences occur, establishing multiple ways to report incidents, developing clear mechanisms for resolving disputes, engaging IUP community members in cross-cultural activities, and providing ongoing training that will promote a climate of civility. President Driscoll said the approval of the plan is the starting point, and the principles of the plan will now be put into action.
As the Diversity and Inclusion Committee becomes an important topic these past few weeks, our reporter Antonio Anderson visited one of the committee members, Dr. Shirley Johnson, not only finding out about activities, but more importantly, to learn what it means by diversity.
When students decide which school to go to, they might choose because of scholarship availability or fun experience. Today, despite the claim of having diverse students, only 12% of students are black, while more than 70% of students are white. The numbers indeed have increased since 1975, the first time a group of 35 black students came to study at IUP. One of the first group of these students is Dr. Shirley Johnson, who is currently a member of the university-wide Diversity and Inclusion Committee.
When I think about diversity, I think of it as being really broad and encompassing a multitude of characteristics that define individuals, their identity, including not only limited to race and ethnicity and religion and sexual orientation. It's just the thing that really allows us to be different and unique.
Having more than 20 years experience in K-12 education and about 9 years in teaching in IUP, Dr. Johnson is hoping that she contributed to diversity from the perspective of...
Okay, well, from the perspective of the university, I believe that IUP has moved in a very positive direction. And first of all, recognizing the fact that there's much work to be done in order to address the issues around diversity on this campus on behalf of students, on behalf of faculty, and on behalf of staff and administration.
Dr. Johnson is aware that diversity is a difficult concept, considering people might define it differently or they might not know what that means.
In my own words, how I define it is just a variety of different people and stuff like that. Just a whole bunch of stuff mixed together.
To
me, diversity is when different ethnic groups come together as one or can work together as one and set aside all their differences.
As IUP grows, the university also embraces diversity and inclusion. Dr. Johnson suggested that diversity should be embraced by everyone through acceptance.
Students and individuals on our campus and the adults here on our campus, in order to make diversity more unified or put it in action, we have to take action. We have to do something. We can no longer sit back and complain about the conditions. We have to have a voice. We have to understand that if there is something that makes us feel uncomfortable, then we have to take action.
For the last 2 years, there have been at least 3 incidents involving students of color. The university tried to deal with the situation by establishing the Diversity and Inclusion Committee that comprised the professors and staff which Dr. Johnson is involved in, with the goal of not only educating students on diversity, but for the students that are minorities that go to the school to feel more welcomed and at home. This is Antonio Anderson reporting from IUPTv.
I fell in love with the campus, with the people, with my IUP life. See it for yourself. Visit us. Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Find your success.
An aspect of diversity people often celebrate is diversity in religion. With Easter coming, churches around town have called people to gather, not only to celebrate this holy day, but also to observe the traditions that take place before Easter Sunday. Jacob Yeomans has his story.
The sound of church bells across Indiana is a familiar one. Here in Indiana, PA, there are at least 20 different recognized churches. All along Church Street and reaching out into the corners of town, churches celebrate in their own unique way. One of which we're familiar with is the Easter egg hunt. Compared to other holidays, which have one date on the calendar, Easter has a series of events. For many, Easter represents an entire week of celebration, and for others, an entire month. I spoke with Celinda Scott, a local member of an Episcopalian church. She told me a little bit about what Easter means to her.
As far as the service goes, on all the events leading up to Easter and Easter itself, there's a certain pattern. And first you have Lent, and then at the end of, towards the end of Lent, there's Palm Sunday.
Easter tends to be associated with Lent, a 40-day period of fasting, prayer, and sacrifice. But for many people, sacrificing even something small is not easy to do.
I'm giving up coffee this year.
Oh, nice. How's it going?
It's all right. It's kind of hard, tough adjustment, but making the most of it.
Do you usually give up something for Lent?
Not typically, but I've been drinking way too much coffee at work lately, and I kind of need to cut back.
In many religions, Easter is one of the most important holidays. I stopped by the Grace Church in Indiana and found that they had a variety of services offered around Easter.
Now our contemporary service on Sunday morning, it's held in the sanctuary along with our traditional service. Earlier, our band is some young kids, some older. Grace Church is a welcoming place. We really are trying to encourage and spread the love of Jesus to all those who come.
Easter is embedded in our culture, even for those who do not associate with any denomination or church. For some, Easter celebration means being with family. Is there anything that your family does specifically on Easter?
Yeah, I'd say we're Creasters. We go to church on Christmas and Easter. So we go on Easter morning just because my mom likes to get the whole Easter celebration feeling. And then we all get together after and just have a feast.
Clearly, Easter means different things to different people. Every spring, different churches and denominations celebrate Easter differently. In the U.S. alone, there are at least 35 branches of Christianity. Regardless of their differences, everyone is celebrating the same thing.
So that's the joyous part of Easter, that he didn't disappear and die, he lives.
This has been Jake Yeomans for IUPTv News.
Coming up, Peyton Markajon will bring you sport and health stories. Stay tuned.
All your professors, all of them, they know that all it takes is one dreamer with passion, one person, and they hope in each of you that you might be that one who makes a longer-lasting light bulb, who writes music for the ages, who reaches into the mind and discovers a new star, and who could change the world of a fifth grader. We're gathered here to hope in you.
The IUP women's basketball team finished their season ranked 3rd in the Women's Basketball Coaches Association Division II poll. This ranking is the highest end of season ranking in the history of the program for IUP. They finished with a 30-4 overall record and won their 2nd regional title at the Atlantic Regional Championship in Richmond. Their .882 win percentage also set a new program record. The final rankings were Central Missouri at number 1 and Ashland at number 2. Edinburgh was the only other PSAC team to finish in the top 25, finishing at number 13. Some people in America chose to skip out on health insurance. According to Bloomberg News, some Americans now believe that they have enough savings or some other form of a backup plan to risk not having to pay the costly deductible on their health insurance. Bloomberg said the amount of Americans without health insurance is actually near a historic low. But with the Trump administration's recent policy changes on the Affordable Care Act, combined with higher than normal private insurance rates, the number is beginning to climb back up.
It's hard to explain. It just became home. There are hundreds of majors and programs, bachelor's degrees to PhDs, small classes and faculty that really get to know you. Amazing internships and everywhere programs that help to find a job that is right for you. It's what IUP is about, a commitment to your success. See it for yourself. Visit us, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Find your success.
And if you have talent that you would like to show, you can come to Artist Hand on March 29th. The event is called We Stand With You. This event is sponsored by the IUP Artistry Movement.
Next week, we will report a few stories related to IUP Dance Theater with a dance adaptation of the famous fairy tale, The Princess and the Pea, as well as how our international teachers from ILEP have spent their time in IUP and what they learned from the experiences.
This is also our last week hosting the news, and we'll have new hosts starting next week. Please stay tuned. We'll see you next week.